All right, good morning, everyone. Today is our class on growing citrus. You can grow it in the ground, you can grow it in the pot. When you're selecting your citrus, you want to make sure you have full sun. The only one you doesn't need absolutely full sun is limes, because they can handle afternoon shade. So what you need for site location is full sun, warmth. You don't want to have shade on your oranges at all, zero. They will not turn color, they won't be sweet. You'll be unhappy. And it doesn't matter if those are in pots or in the ground. You need full sun for the oranges to turn orange and be sweet. Like I said, the limes, they can have some afternoon shade and they're okay, but they still need a good portion of sun. Again, you can grow them in the ground, you can grow them in pots. If you grow them in pots, you're gonna need something about this size. And eventually you may have to get bigger than this. So wherever you're gonna put this, then fill it. Gets really heavy. You want good draining soil, so I've got the citrus and palm mix here. If it's in the ground, you don't need to really put this in. You can shove in a little bit in the hole that you dig, but in a pot it's necessary because in the ground you want it, that's the soil it's gonna be in. I mean, you can't fill up your whole yard with that. So the tree needs to be able to grow in that soil. So if you want to add a little bit, but then it's gonna have to grow into the soil that's surrounding it. So it's kind of needs to acclimate to the soil that it's got. You want to dig the hole twice as wide, the same depth. Like some plants are like, you want to dig them deeper. You don't want to dig that on citrus. You want them to be equal to the soil at the top, even like an inch taller than the soil around it, because it doesn't like to be sitting in water. So you want to make sure that wherever you water is not at the trunk ever. You want to water around. This is what's called the drip line, the end of the tree, because that's where the water drips. So that's where the roots are eventually going to be. You want to make sure that this tree gets the ability to uptake water from this area within 3 inches of the drip line of where the rain's going to drip. Never water at the trunk. Never do anything at the trunk. Make sure if you're going to put mulch down, you pull it away about 3 to 6 inches because all you'll do is rot it. Don't plant your citrus in a lawn. The water requirements are significant for a lawn versus the citrus likes it dry. It likes to be dry generally. Like in the ground, you want to plant it, you probably, after it's established, you'd want to water it once every 7 to 10 days in the heat of the summer. So by wintertime, you're not watering this at all. You know, hopefully your ground is going to get rain. And if you put it in concrete, open area in concrete, that's going to be a little tricky because the drip line is going to go over. So again, you don't want to water at the trunk. If you have concrete, make it significant enough that you can water around it because the roots are underneath the concrete and they're not going to get any and it's going to cause problems. In a pot is a little different because the roots are contained. So again, you don't want to water at the trunk. You just want to make sure the water goes into the pot. The pot doesn't dry out. You let it dry out a little bit, but don't ever let it dry out completely. Depending on the weather, if it's super hot, you want to water it more, but I water mine in the pots about every 4 to 5 days on the triple digit day. So you definitely need to water it more on a hot day because it doesn't have that ability to reach its roots out and get any water. Don't overwater it. When you overwater it, the leaves turn yellow. And when it gets cold, the leaves turn yellow. So wintertime, your tree may look like something's significantly wrong. If you've been fertilizing it regularly, as soon as the weather warms up and it dries out some, the leaves will turn green again. When you're planting it in a pot, you want to use the citrus and palm, all of it, the whole pot. If you add anything else, it's going to be possibly water retaining and the tree's not going to be happy. Fertilize it. You can, a slow release fertilizer. You can use this. This is good. This is what I use. But if you don't like to use in granulars, you can use liquids. The Big Grow is good. Once the blooms start, there's another product in this, just Fox Farm, Big Bloom. So the Big Bloom is for the blooms specifically. When you get buds, don't use this, switch to the other one. This is also another one that you could use. It's an all-purpose, but all-purpose is just as fine as the citrus. Make sure that they have the micronutrients, which are zinc, magnesium, and iron. Otherwise, you'll get leaves that they're green through the veins, but between the veins is going to be yellow. That's when you know it's a deficiency. Like in the winter and you're like, what's going on with my leaves? They're turning yellow. If it's been fertilized, it's not going to have that problem. It'll green back up. If it doesn't green back up and it's dried out and the weather's gotten warmer and the veins with the little lines through the leaves are green, then it's an iron deficiency. We have the liquid form and we have the powdered form, and you can use those too. Fertilize once a month, even in a pot. I fertilize once a month. In the ground, it's May through August. In a pot, I start in March. So in March, you want to fertilize once a month. And the reason being is if you don't fertilize it regularly, it's a heavy feeder, so it's going to suck up everything you put into it. In a pot, it's just, that's it, it's contained. There's no ground around it to get any nutrients, like from composting or whatever. So you need to fertilize. You'll have better fruit production. You'll have a happy, healthier tree. According to the instructions of this container, it says you could start in January. So you could do January, February-ish, and then you do May, June-ish, and then the last one is August, September-ish. But don't do it in the winter. It promotes growth, new growth, which are these little things. And if we get a freeze, it's gonna damage that. It's gonna kill it. It may come back somewhere else, but it's not here. So if you're like, you've got your tree in the perfect shape that you want, but you feed it and then you promote growth, the frost will cause damage. Also, it'll introduce pests that it doesn't normally get when it's in a non-growing mode. When you plant these, you can use sticks like this, put them in about 6 inches from the trunk on each side. And then this tape, and you do just like a figure 8. So you'll do, one to the trunk here and then one on the side here to the trunk. Don't leave these on for more than 2 years because your trunk won't be sturdy enough to withstand the wind on its own. When you go to trim it, they don't really need pruning, except for if you've got dead, damaged, or diseased wood. Trim that anytime. Just take that off. It's not helping the tree at all. Otherwise, you'd want to trim it March, probably. Our last frost date is March 15th. So you'd want to trim it after that because when you cut trees, you promote growth. You don't want to promote growth when it's going to be frost or possibly frost. So before you start to prune, look for hummingbird nests. They love this. If it doesn't have any flowers on it and you see hummingbirds all in here, that most likely means they have a nest, and it's nearly invisible if you're not looking for it. Please don't cut it off. You'll feel horrible. Just take that extra time to look for the hummingbirds. If they're in bloom like this, if you see it like this and there's hummingbirds in it, probably not gonna have a nest in it unless your tree is giant. They're not gonna put a nest right by the flowers. There'll be too many predators coming in or other hummingbirds or whatever. So this is Trovita. It's an orange. It can handle more heat. So if you've got like a place that's super, super hot, terracotta or stucco or driveway or pavement, it's gonna be hotter. Reflected light, a pool, glass, a glass window, you're gonna get reflected light. So if you're like, nothing's growing there, this might be one that can grow because it's found in the LA area, which is much warmer than we are, but it does really well with heat. This one is a variegated lemon. Even the lemons are variegated, so they're hard to see, but you crack them open and they're pink. So that's kind of fun. The juice isn't pink per se. It has a little tint, but it's not like pink. It tastes like just like a Eureka or something like that. This is a kumquat. It usually is in harvest time around December, January. You want it to get bright orange and kind of soft. It's really sour. And this one is calamandan, also known as calamansi. It's very sour. A lot of people use it as a lime. Popular in the Philippines. These varieties can be in a pot. They grow well in a pot. Actually, this one, if you have a nice warm spot inside, you could probably grow this one inside. You'd have to look at your space, what you're doing, where you're gonna put it. Don't take it outside and then bring it back inside unless it's wintertime and it's gonna frost. Then you could do that, but it's gonna need to acclimate to your environment. Australian finger lime, it has all kinds of thorns. These are great for them. I was gonna bring it in, but it's so big and it's so thorny, I decided not to. When you go to prune, make sure your pruners are sharp and that they're clean. We have a little sharpener here. So if you're like not sure that they're sharp, make sure they're sharp. It takes a couple seconds. And then just clean them with anything that you clean your bathroom with will work. Alcohol, Clorox wipes or bleach, scrubby bubbles, that works well. You spray it on and wipe it off, and you don't have to worry about spilling it if you're doing it in the yard. If you find a branch that's diseased, clean these after you've cut that off, whatever you find diseased. Otherwise, you're just gonna spread the bacteria. And again, you don't have to prune them. The only time you need to prune them out is if their branches are crossing, because they're gonna get bigger and they're gonna rub against each other and they're gonna cause a problem. The sooner you start pruning when they're crossing, the better it is, because it's not like a big chunk of branch that you're pulling out. It's just something as you're looking at it going, okay, well that's crossing, so I'm gonna trim it. Make sure you don't cut a collar. Where's that little, like a bump almost, like a like a collar. Don't cut into that collar. It'll take a long time for it to heal. And then when it heals, it kind of bends over just to keep it healing. It's so much easier just to not cut it. It heals perfectly. So in the beginning, when you plant your tree, the first 1 to 3 years, you're gonna get a couple of pieces of fruit, but you're not gonna get a big harvest. After 5 years, that's when your harvest is pounds of fruit. If your fruit is healthy and you fed it and you've given it warmth, you'll have lots of fruit. Some oranges are like every other year, they're heavy bearing, kind of like cherries. So every other year you'll get a big harvest and the next year not so much. And the next year you're like, oh, it's back. So it's just something a lot of the oranges do. So every other year, don't panic. It's like, okay, we got a lot last year. This year we'll get more. Pests, I forgot about pests. The most common pests are aphids, mealybugs, white flies. Snails and slugs can be a problem if they get up the tree. There is one pest that you need to be aware of, and it's the Asian citrus psyllid, and that can decimate your tree. That is just, you need to call the Department of Agriculture. They'll come out, they'll look at your tree. If it's infected, they will remove the tree. That's what Florida's fighting with. Pretty much all of their fruit is gone. It's in Texas, it's in Southern California, and it's now in Brazil. So if you see that, it's a little like, it looks like an aphid. It's got this little waxy, curly, tubular piece of hanging something. And if you see it, you're like, ooh, what's that? Call Santa Clara County Department of Agriculture, or they have a 1-800 number for the state. Santa Clara County is going to come out if you're in Santa Clara County, and they'll take your tree out for you. If it's infected, it will die within 5 years. Well, between that 5 years and everybody else's fruit trees, it can infect those as well. So you want to get rid of it as soon as you see it. Aphids, white flies, you can spray those with water if it's not a bat infestation. And if it is a bat infestation and you have ladybugs, they will take care of them. Give yourself 2 weeks before you start spraying. Captain Jack's dead bug. If you get this little crazy miner looking thing in your leaves, all curvy and stuff, and it kind of turns silvery, it's a leaf miner. By the time you see that damage and it's kind of, the leaf is kind of curling, it's already gone. It's already hatched and flew out and probably infecting somebody else's tree or another new leaf, because they only show up on the new leaves. So when you see those old leaves, don't pull them. When you pull the old leaves, new leaves will come, and then you're just basically feeding the second cycle. If you've got ants though, keep the ants off the tree. The best way to do it is with diatomaceous earth. We have 2 different varieties, this one and then the food safe one. What it does is the ants get their insides cut up by it, so they don't protect the aphids. That's what they're doing, is they're protecting the aphids because they're eating their sticky honeydew. If you have ants, make sure you keep them off the tree. All right, well, thanks for coming.